Yeah, hey, drop.
Prime Coverage Sports Network. Real coverage, real conversation.
Oh, yeah. It's time for another week of Unfiltered Sports with Mac and Cal on Prime Coverage Sports Network. Time to holler at your boys again. We got a lot to get into, Cal, in just a couple of hours. Man, wow. What a finish to the Olympics.
Yep.
Total
I know.
hypeness. You sitting there, you see I'm representing with my hockey gear. I got my Blackhawks jersey on, showing love for the sport of hockey. USA all day, able to defeat the Canadian hockey giants. And it came down to overtime. This wasn't easy. And obviously if overtime wouldn't have been finished, it would have came down to a shootout. I'm really pleased that it didn't have to come down to that, because I felt like even though the Americans were dominated by the Canadians majority of the game in terms of puck control, I just felt like there was a spirit, a fight to that USA team, and I didn't want it to have to go into a shootout. I'm glad that they were able to close the door in a thrilling overtime victory.
Oh yeah, man. And you got, not only about the men, but the women's as well. They both went to overtime.
Hats off. But here's the thing though, with that, is that I was actually shocked that the women went into overtime, because they dominated so much during the Olympics that it was almost kind of like one of those situations where you're like, oh my goodness, whoa, is this about to be an upset?
Mm-hmm.
It would have been an upset if they had lost, as opposed to USA men beating Canadian team. This was a much more tougher foe, and you found yourself in this mix. I was, like I said, I was really surprised that the women, it actually came down to that, because I thought my feeling going into that was that the women were going to dominate that team. But hats off to the Canadian women's team for showing up and they came ready to fight. So I got to give them credit on that.
Yeah, man. Especially looking back at that previous preliminary game they had. I mean, USA shut them out, and for the Canada to come back and get that goal on the women's side, they really stepped up their game. And I mean, unfortunately for Canada, they came up short, and we were able to take it away. But, dude, just the story of U.S. men's hockey ever since that tournament last season, when Canada booed our national anthem, and they just came out and started fighting right away. That was still in the back of our guys' mind, and they just came in and they held up and did business. And I'm really shocked on both sides how well we really dominated each side of the table, and men's and women's. I think the men's only had like one real close game against Sweden, but other than that, they both showed dominant efforts.
No, it was absolutely beautiful. And man, shout out to the goalie.
Yeah.
Did he stand on his head? I think he stood on his head. USA goalie definitely stood on his head to help secure that victory. I mean, amazing job. I cannot, I mean, so many people. I mean, the Hughes brothers, I don't want to say
Chuck
what's
brothers?
those brothers. Yes, I don't want to say their name wrong. These guys, they came to play, man. They came to play. You know what I mean? And you know what? This is not something that we should look at and just let it just be a quick little glimmer. I feel like this is something that we should really take the time to enjoy, because the fact of it's been 30, man, over 30 years. It was 19. Okay, I'm 46 years old.
It was 1980.
It was 1980. So it's been
Yeah.
over 40 years. Okay,
Mhm.
40 plus years. I was born in 79. All right. So that's 45 years. Okay? It's 45 years since they've won gold. That's a long time, Kyle. It's
Oh,
almost
I
half a
know.
century, brother. Okay?
Yep.
This is not to I don't feel like this is something that, we should just oh, hey, yeah, man, Americans won a goal. No, this was huge. And I don't, I don't, so the reason why it's not the same as the Miracle on Ice is because it was more evenly matched.
Hmm.
Obviously, going back to that time, which was the last time the USA team won gold, the Miracle on Ice was a bunch of young upstarts going against this professional, well put together Russian dominant squad. That wasn't the same as this. This was more about history as
Hmm.
opposed to teams. It was more about the fact that the Americans hadn't been able to get it done the last couple times in the Olympics against the Canadians. Um, and so, it was kind of a situation where it was more about that can you finally get over the hump as opposed to this team is so dominant over you that it's an upset. It wasn't an upset that USA won. It was more of
Well, in
getting the
Canada, it was
get.
an upset.
Uh,
So.
well, I'm just, but you know what I mean. But it was more about getting the monkey off your back,
Yeah.
beating this Canadian team. I feel like USA has been evenly matched against Canada for quite some time. I don't think this. I don't think this just started this Olympic tournament. I think for the last three Olympics, Winter Olympics, the USA has been matched quite well with Canada and just
Hmm.
has come up short. And this year they were finally able to get over that hump, and it's just great to see. And like I say, I just feel like it's nice. Let's just take a moment. Let's enjoy it and what happened because this was special.
Oh yeah. And you know what? One thing that gets me when I think about hockey, especially now, is it's not just your guys from New York and Minnesota and Michigan. You got guys down in Florida, from Arizona, from Southern California that are being involved
Yes.
in Team USA. And I know the NHL has a lot to do with it. It's pros coming in playing in the Olympics. But
Hmm.
seeing that difference of you got guys from warm climates coming in and playing hockey at these high levels and becoming professional and elite world players. And I think that's something to really show as far as how much the sport has grown across the United States.
Yeah. Like it's come alive. It's been a dedication, something that we can't take for granted to the USA youth hockey organizations across the nation that
Hmm.
have taken it upon themselves to raise the level of competitive hockey in our USA players. And you've seen that now, whereas that at one time, I mean, obviously we've had the league for some time, the NHL has existed, but the NHL is not just consistent of USA players. The Canadians have always had a big impact on the league, as well as Russian players from uh, Sweden, God, Norway,
Finland.
Finland. Like it's not just USA players, and
Yeah.
so it's nice to see that when it's kind of okay, chips on the line. Hey, this is this was an opportunity for USA to show that, hey, you know what, our hockey has arrived. Our hockey is not little league anymore. USA
Yep.
hockey is on the big league stage, and I mean, obviously, Canada has taken over what Russia once was for hockey. Canada, who technically, let's be honest, they invented the sport. They
Yeah.
should be they should be the dominant country when it comes to it. it's nice to see that we've finally maybe just maybe have come to their level.
Oh yeah, and I mean, and I love our guys and gals, just their competitiveness and
Yes.
just wanting to win. It's different when and I hate to make the comparison because they are two different sports, but just the way that USA hockey has that will and want to where USA basketball just kind of feels a little nonchalant to me now.
Yeah, it's
In
hockey. Hockey
certain,
has kept it, man, real, haven't they?
and I just feel like it's a different thing where it's I mean, they're both representing their country and they're going to the Olympics, but it just they have a different feel when you watch them. You know,
Yeah.
I just feel like that when you're watching USA hockey, to me, it's like you're watching those kids who are just, man, this is the greatest thing ever. I want to do this. I want to play my best. I want to be an all-star every time. And then, when you watch sometimes when USA men's basketball would play, I mean, it just kind of looked like they just go through the motions, and it just doesn't there just doesn't seem as much energy. And maybe they just need to get a different group of younger, hungrier pros into, USA basketball. But that's just, what I see the difference in our two main sports in the Olympics.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that when so you get a guy like Hallenbuck, um, for Team USA. He's the goalie, right?
Mhm.
And he's come in. He's highly talented. He has won MVP of the league. He's someone that is revered, but yet he'll still come to the Olympics with a mighty chip on his shoulder. And I think that you know um that even though the NBA players can kind of get ripped, they still seem to know how to represent for their country because if they know if they lose, if they don't come home with gold, it's a massive embarrassment.
Oh
And
yeah.
so, I mean, I will say this much for that from that standpoint. Um, I won't get on them too much because hey, they have continued to win gold because they understand that if they come home without gold, it's a massive embarrassment. If Team USA in hockey hadn't come home with gold, it still would have been okay. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have
Yeah.
been this. It wouldn't have been a massive letdown, like this big disappointment that they lost to Team Canada. When we look at Team USA in basketball, there's no one that we consider to be their rival. So if they lose, it's more like, what's going on here, guys? Get
I'm
your
just
get your
talking
head
about
together.
in ways of like you feel inspired. That's
Well,
what I
yeah,
like.
no,
And I just feel
it's
like
yeah,
the
it's more
inspiration side is
juice.
different. Yeah. And I just feel like I felt inspired watching men's hockey in the Olympics and women's hockey in the Olympics to
Hmm.
where when it's USA basketball, I don't feel inspired because it feels like, okay, this is what should happen.
Yes,
You know,
it's they go there. It's like okay, you're going through the motions, and like I said, hopefully one day they can get that established, real, I guess, foe because as we saw in the All Star game, when these players feel truly challenged, especially when it comes to them representing their country,
hmm
wow, you really see some fireworks, you know?
Well, and it's funny you bring that up. I feel like basketball in the Olympics should be the USA versus the world,
Yeah,
and you put and
because
you
countries don't stand a chance. I
yeah, and
mean,
I feel
they
like
just really
you put a
don't.
world all-star team together in the Olympics, or you put a few teams
Yes.
together in the Olympics, and you just have USA versus the world, and whoever's on that team, that country gets represented with a medal if they beat them.
I
Something
mean,
along those lines.
something you got to figure something out to because like I said, that's the biggest difference and that's why I think that hockey has got that juice is because
Hmm.
the United States is not expected to win. It's not
Yeah.
easy for the USA to win a gold medal in hockey, men's or women. And so when you can get something like this is the first time ever that it's ever happened where the men's and women have won a gold medal in their Winter Olympics. So we've seen something magical, something truly unique. That's not going to happen in with basketball. The women are expected to win, the men are expected to win. But that's why I feel like this is such a unique and such a special victory because of the difficult the degree of difficulty that it is for um this men's USA team to win that gold medal, and also the women, even though the women were heavily favored going in this year, it's not a give me for the women's hockey team either to get a gold medal.
I know, but with their goal differential, it sure made it look like it was.
Woo! They were destructive this year. They had a goal and they came in ready to go, and I love that. I love that. Shout out to everyone that's joined us also in the chat room. We see your questions, we see your comments. Thank you guys. Make sure to continue to give us questions and comments. We're here to answer all of them for you here on Unfiltered Sports with Mac and Cal. We're gonna have Kenny Casanova joining us a little bit later, so that's going to be a nice treat. We're going to talk some NBA hoops with him, but right now we're sitting here and we're talking Olympics. If everyone's got a comment or something that they'd like to add to what we're talking about on the Olympics, please join in and chat with us. But right now we're just talking about the victory of the men's finals, hockey finals in the Olympics, which was yesterday early morning. I actually was working. I was working doing another gig, and so I wasn't able to watch, which I wanted to, but I was listening, and so I was hearing it, and it was like right away. Okay, bam, we opened it up. Bam, USA's got to go, and I think that was a tone setter. I felt like even though and I opened it up by saying this, and this is Unfiltered Sports. We know we don't water it down. The Canada was dominating USA in possession of puck. Looking like they were more aggressive on the ice. USA seemed to be playing a lot more of a retreat, so it was good that I felt like the USA got that first goal. You know what I mean? It was like bam. You got now Canada's got to answer. And I thought that was a great tone setter, and it allowed USA to they're playing a lead protect mode in a situation, but they did it very well. And then allowing just that one goal, which led them to reset in overtime. Like that, to me, I felt like if it would have been the other way around, if Canada had got that goal first, I don't think the outcome might have been the same.
Yeah. And here I bring up something, and I want to get your opinion on this, because I saw some comments after the USA scored, and there was a meme. It was always a bridesmaid, but not the bride when it comes to Mr. Connor McDavid not being able to win the cup and not being able to win the gold medal this time. Do you think that kind of messes him, his legacy up a little bit?
Yes, because it has kind of now started to turn into a common theme for him. From Stanley Cups to now resonating in the Olympics. You flip that around. Look at Sidney Crosby, right? Sidney has delivered in the Olympics. Sidney has delivered in the Stanley Cup Finals. Sidney Crosby is probably going to go down easily as probably one of the top 4 greatest hockey players of all time. And now you flip that sat to David McConnell or Connor McDavid, right? There we go. Connor McDavid, you flip that around, and yet he hasn't delivered, even though he has all this world talent. He's fast. He's athletic. He's supposed to be the hockey's guy, but yet he has not. He's continually come up short in the biggest moments. And so now it starts to really make you say, well, how great is he?
Well, I mean, I still think he's a great player. He just can't get over the hump of getting those championships. And it could be, the team around him. But I mean, I mean, Team Canada is one of that lineup is insane. The guys that are on that team, and I
Mm-hmm.
just feel like is Team USA a better team? Individually, I would say no, but as a
Okay.
unit, I think as a unit, they come in as a better overall team together.
I mean, it's a pretty special squad.
Mhm.
I definitely like what they've built and put together. The lines are solid. And I still kind of, I love stories, and obviously we're national sports media, and so I love these national stories that come out. But I thought that was really hilarious that people were like acting like it was a big deal that Sidney Crosby was injured. I'm gonna tell you right now, 30 plus something Sidney Crosby, was he 36, 38 years old, something around there. If anybody thinks that he would have made that much of a difference, and you haven't been watching hockey. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, his leadership is key and all that, but if you really thought that he would have made that big of a difference on the ice, like stop it, stop it. United States didn't win gold because Sidney Crosby was injured. That so I don't even want to hear that narrative.
yeah.
That's a joke. This United States squad, like you say, is a very well built team. I mean, just look at this team alone. Okay, they're forwards, Matt Boldy, Jake Eichel,
Eichel.
J- Eichel, Jake Guntzel, Jack
Hmm.
Hughes, Clayton Kaler, Dylan Larkin, Austin Matthews, T.J. Miller, Brock Nelson, Tage Thompson, Matthew Kachuk, Brady Kachuk, and then Vincent Trocek. Then their defensemen Brock Faber, Noah Hannafin, Quinn
Hannafin.
Hughes, Charlie McAvoy, Jack Sanderson, Jacob Slavin, and Zach Wierenski.
Hmm.
That's a, I mean, man, one of the best USA teams I've seen put together in a long time.
Yeah.
And then when you add a goalie like Connor Hallenbuck, who it's not like he just all of a sudden woke up in the Olympics. This guy, he's established. And all he did was just do what he's normally done, and that's
Hmm.
shut stuff down.
Oh yeah.
So hats off, man. Hats off to this team. Great victory. Great. I love USA celebrate. It's a big deal.
Oh yeah. And I think the one of the moments that really got me is having Goudreau's family there, having this jersey, and then taking a picture with the kids on the ice after the gold medal.
Oh, that
I
was
thought
special.
that was something where it was like, and that's where I go back to about the team being better than that one star. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And I feel like that team came together in a way in 2 weeks. Like they had like 2, 3 weeks to get together and form this team in the Olympics to come in and do what they did, and to have that much of a connection that fast, and to honor their fallen teammate the way that they did. I thought that was one of the most special part of the whole
Yeah,
Olympics for me.
yeah, that was beautiful. And it just like I said, I have to send shots out to Mike Tirico. I thought that he closed that out beautifully by
Hmm.
saying to the young kids that, hey, this is what it's all about.
Oh yeah.
This is what makes sports so special. This is what makes following it so special, to see something like this, to see how it brings a country together, a nation together. We all know things that are going on. We're not blind to them. So it's nice to see that people could come together and be galvanized by something like this. And it's called
Oh yeah.
sports. And that's
And
what
and
makes
the,
sports so special.
and the inspiration of being able to be like, you sit your kid down to watch the Summer Olympics or the Winter Olympics, and they see some events that they've never seen before, or they never seen a sport that they never saw before, and they're like, "Oh, I'm interested in that." And then you have these miracle moments of these gold medals. The USA winning the most gold medals in the Winter Olympics than they ever won was this year. And seeing those kind of things happen to where kids are like, man, skeleton looks kind of interesting to me. I want to check that out, or the different skiing events or the cross country skiing and the decathlons and all these other sports that are different from our top four, and that's the one thing I love is that it opens up eyes to so many different things that, we're not exposed to on a regular here in America as far as other sports that are out there, and I think that's one great thing about the Olympics that really comes out is that it just opens your eyes up to a whole different avenue of what sports really is.
Yeah, no, and like I said, it's something special, beautiful. I absolutely loved it. And this year I didn't watch the Olympics a lot like I normally do. I mean, because like I say, I love ice skating, I love um hockey. I'll even watch some skiing. I don't ski personally, but I
Me neither.
support. I know that the USA doesn't win much in that category, but you know what? I still watch. And you know what? I still got to send a shout out to Lindsey Vaughn for even trying. She's our age. People got to
Hmm.
understand. I'm 46 years old. You're 41. Lindsay's our age, okay? And for her to come out of retirement and get out there on that mountain again, and to go out there on with a damaged knee and still to try to give it her all, I just, me personally, just want to take a moment to tell her thank you for her dedication, thank you for her commitment to her country, to her craft, and for going out there and giving it her all. And even though it may not have turned out the way that any of us, including her, wanted it to, the fact that she would even do it is to me something special and beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Um, this whole Olympic tournament has been to me still something special. Shout out to all the athletes that competed, but definitely to our country and the USA who came and showed out and won the most gold medals they've ever won in the Winter Olympics. The Winter Olympics are not our sport.
No.
That's just a fact. It's not. Skiing is not our thing. It's not something that we dominate. Hockey has not been our thing in terms of something that we dominate. So for us to be able to find successes and to find gold medals in these events has been something special and it's something unique. So I want to give a salute to our country, to our fellow women and men that went over there and played an excellent games and an excellent closeout. We're going to
Yeah.
get ready now to add one of our special guests, somebody that we always love having on to join us to talk some NBA, and that is Kenny Casanova.
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up?
going
What's
on, Ken?
going on, Kenny?
Nothing, man. Just ready to talk some sports, man. Locked in now.
Look at you. That's what I love. And you come representing too. I love that. Got the tie, looking good. That's what I'm talking about, baby. You come ready to represent on Prime Cover
Mhm.
Sports Network.
Definitely, man. Just excited.
Yes.
Appreciate you guys for having me on.
Oh man, we love having you on. And to all of our viewers out there, make sure if you haven't already, you like and subscribe to the page. Please, we love that following. We love that support. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Prime Cover Sports Network channel page, and you can follow obviously all of the shows that come on Monday through Sunday here on Prime Cover Sports Network. We're on Unfiltered Sports. We appear every Monday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. now, Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on the East Coast. And to our West Coast people, we are now doing 5 to 7. Yeah, a little time change, not a big one, just a small hour shift that we did so that we could get our listeners more of an availability to hear us out and check out the great show. Kenny, big matchup tonight. Um, we got it's probably about to start. Actually, it's probably already going now that I'm thinking about it. And I just
Yeah,
we've
it's
been
on
doing
now.
it. We've been doing the show, and I
Mhm.
haven't got a chance to switch over and check out exactly what's been happening with scores. But Detroit and San Antonio locking up tonight, two of the best in each conference. Looks like right now San Antonio's actually up by a point here in the early part of this game. What do you feel about these two teams right now currently?
Man, we could be watching the NBA Finals preview.
Ooh,
Mhm.
I felt the same way too.
Yeah, I truly believe that. I mean, if you watch how Detroit is playing this year, they seem like they feel like it feels like Detroit versus everybody. Like you remember how they had the slogans back in the day, Detroit
Hmm.
versus everybody. This team feels like that. It represents the city. It's a tough defensive team, and they got Cade Cunningham, who is a MVP candidate. I think this year he's taking that next step that we knew he was going to take. If you have been watching his progression in the league, and then you watching Dirt in the center. Now that's the people that don't watch, they watch him play, because that's really the key for them. Because he controls the boards. He's the paint stopper. He's there. He's not Ben Wallace. Let me not saying he's Ben Wallace, but for this team, he's their Ben Wallace. You know, he
No,
controls.
he's a I feel like he's a linchpin as well.
Yes,
Like you say, okay, we're not gonna throw Ben Wallace out there because you got to prove yourself.
yes,
But
of
he
course.
could be heading into that vein in
Yes,
terms of being able to be a difference maker on the floor without having to score a bunch of points. But
correct.
make no mistake, when he does get his opportunities around the basket, he is
He will
fearsome.
cash in.
Um,
Yes,
the thing I guess really the question marks more for them is really when it comes down to how effective can a player like Tobias Harris be? How effective is a player like Jalen Green gonna be? These are the guys that they're gonna have to lean on beyond Cade Cunningham
Mhm.
and Jalen Duran if they really want to make a serious push.
mm,
Now, there was a good move that they made to get Kevin Herter from the Bulls. I think that they needed some more shooting.
yes,
So
Yes.
that was a good move. Chris Levert is a good veteran of the team. Duncan Robinson is
yes,
solid for you, good shooter. Isaiah Stewart is a good guy off the bench, can provide some spark. I think really the biggest question mark for them, and at this point I don't know if it's gonna happen, is Ashur Thompson. I know they drafted him based off of a lot of hope and potential that he would turn into an athletic freak, somebody that just could be unstoppable. But now 3 years in, he was drafted fifth pick in the 2023 draft.
mm,
He's currently averaging 10 points and 5 rebounds a game. That's not why they drafted him that high. They didn't draft him with the fifth pick in the first round to be barely cracking double digits.
yeah,
I know that he was, like I said, he's a project. He's something of a reach that they drafted him on talent as opposed to what he had done on the court. The upside was there, and yet it still hasn't translated. And I think in a way it kind of it's unfortunate because this team has accelerated a lot faster maybe
yep,
than when he was drafted. So as he sits in his third year now with a team that's number one in the East, it's kind of like the expectations have shot up a lot higher for him.
yes.
Mhm.
And yet the development hasn't come as fast.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. I think the thing with him is, I think the good part is that his brother is like, actually coming into his own, amen, down there in Houston. So the problem is we're kind of looking at him and seeing his development and wondering why you're a twin. Why you just say, but it's one of those things where I feel like amen was always the more talented one out of the two. If you go back and watch them play, he was always just slightly more talented than the two. I think what Asar provides on this team, hard nosed defense, but you're right. He has to score. He needs to be in that 15 to 18 range to really maximize
Yes.
value on this team. And if you can get anywhere from 15 to 18 on top of the defense that the kid plays, because both of them twins, they are lockdown defenders. So That's not
Yes.
going anywhere.
That is the flip
Yeah,
side of it. The defense is there.
the
The
defense.
defense is
Yes,
there.
yes,
But
for
I
sure.
feel like Detroit needs
Yes,
scoring
yes,
more than defense at this point.
Mm-hmm.
correct. I agree. I agree. That 15 to 18 range is probably where he needs to be at to, like I said, maximize his value on this team on both ends of the floor.
And then on the flip side, we got the Spurs.
Yeah.
Now I know we talked about the Spurs briefly last week when we had Casey join us from OTST. Um, and we glanced over the Spurs a little bit, but I think that it's time that we're gonna have to stop glancing over the Spurs, and we're gonna have to start really looking at the
Mm-hmm.
Spurs. Uh, Kyle, has Wemby arrived? Is he that? Is he the face? Is he the new guy of the NBA, or is it not yet? We still need to see a little bit more.
If it's not yet, it's coming up, man. I mean, especially after that All-Star game when he came in and he was just like, I want to kick some ass.
Hmm.
And he did. I think he's finally coming into what he's going to be. And I think, they have this good run this year. And I think maybe next year is the year when it's Wemby's league and everybody else is just behind it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%.
And especially if you
I'm
give this Spurs team, this younger core of the Spurs team, another year together.
hmm
I mean, the sky's the limit for them. And if he comes in and just shows he's the dominant guy and he goes, nope, this is my team, this is my league, and I'm going to do it. I mean, it's going to be trouble for the NBA.
I think they need growth from two guys, and if they don't get that growth, then they need to find that one wing player that can give them what they need. Because I think that I think De'Aaron Fox was the perfect backcourt addition for him. I think that the things that De'Aaron Fox can do with the basketball in his hand, and then to be able to have a guy like Victor Wembanyama on the court with him is key. But I think that you need big play from Devin Vassell and Stephen Castle. Once
Mm-hmm.
again, I don't want to tongue twist people. That's Devin Vassell and Stephen Castle. All right, these two guys are essential to this team being able to become what I feel is possibly a dominant force in the Western Conference. Because Wemby has a right, but you can't do it on your own, and you got to have guys that can make big impacts in the game. And I know that De'Aaron Fox can do that. De'Aaron Fox can make big impacts in the game, but it's not enough. They need more, and I'm hoping that they can get that from Devin Vassell and Stefan Castle as they both grow. And I know that they're young players as well, and that's the thing. This whole team is young. I mean, really, it's funny that De'Aaron Fox is like one of the veterans on this team, and he's still a fairly young guy himself. Kenny, what is your thoughts about the Spurs?
Well, I agree. I agree with Cal. I feel like this team, I'm a cross sport this. So I feel like this is the New England Patriots situation in the NBA. This team is a year ahead of schedule, I feel like, this year with the Spurs. I feel like they're very young. They're so young that they don't know, oh yeah, we're not even supposed to be this good yet. But they are. You're here, you didn't arrive. I think this is a situation where if you're the Spurs, if you can get at least 35 points between Castle and Vassett. I want to mess up his name. But, number
Vassell.
24. I know his name. If you can get at least 35 points, 35 to 40 points combined between those two guys right there, see, that'll cover that up because then you're going to get at least 20 to 25 from De'Aaron. Wemby any given night can go for 40. So you got that, and then you got the shooters off the bench. I mean, they got a lot of shooters on this team, guys that can really fill it up. You got Harrison Barnes; he gonna give you his 12 to 15 a night. So You're getting contributions from everywhere on this team, and I think right now the coaching needs to be looked at with this team. The coach,
Mm.
these guys, they won't give him credit right now. He's a young coach, but he has these guys playing out of their minds right now. And you got Dylan Harper. I'm not even mentioning the number 2 pick.
No,
Dylan
no, we
Harper,
haven't talked about him yet.
he's off the bench, and this kid,
Yep.
I'm telling you, they got a good problem. They got so many guards that it's a good problem to have. Now, I think you maximize what you can get out of this team this year because I think you're going to have to trade one of these guards going into the next season.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have no choice.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to keep all them guys, and Dylan Harper, you're not going to be able to tie him down too much longer. I see the potential. When I watched him play, I'm just like, hold up, he's going to have to be your starter. He can't come off the bench. Eventually,
No,
not this year, but next year, this is your starter right here. I'm watching him play, and I'm just like, he's too good to be tied down. Anytime he gets in the game, it's impact. He's making impact plays on both ends of the floor. And so you're not gonna be able to tie this kid down too long, and that's gonna be the key to their championship right there. I think it's
yeah,
Dylan Harper. I think that's the key to their championship because Wemby gonna be Wemby. Like Cal said, next year's Wemby League. Y'all can go to sleep. Everybody else go to bed. It's Wemby League. Y'all figure it out who 2 and 3 is because it's him. It's
mm.
him. His mentality is him. He wants it. He ain't shying away. He ain't pulling the Anthony Edwards saying, I don't want it. No, he said, I
No, he
want it.
wants it.
So give it to me. I got it. He don't want it. Give it to me. I'll take on the mantle. And so
No,
that
and that's very good. Shout out to once again everyone that's joined the chat group. We got Betty that's chimed in. She said Detroit has done a great job this season. I agree. Andrew, come on. I did not like that as a Bulls fan. It doesn't matter. You know the Bulls suck, Andrew. We don't want to even talk about them. Let's not do that. We got Sleeper Reports Media. What's up? What's up? What's going on with you, brother? We
Right, hey, and
appreciate
I'm
you joining the
just going
chat
to
group.
chime in with what Andrew just said. Didn't like that as a Bulls fan, dude. I'd rather talk about the Windy City Bulls than the
Oh
Chicago.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
no, like I'm sorry.
there we go.
That's not happening. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I'm sorry, brother. We're
if
not
we're going to
doing
talk
that.
about the Bulls, we have to throw in the G League because that was way more entertaining than what's been going on
Exactly.
at the United Center. What's going on at the Now Arena is more entertaining. That's all I'm going to say.
Big time. Yeah, I mean, I just, we're talking about winning teams right now. We're just gonna keep it that way. Last night was a really good matchup though, and for a couple reasons, because it opens a couple conversations that need to be had. I'm not the type of person that likes to talk about LeBron James or clickbait, but at the same time, I do acknowledge his importance in the league and where he's at. That's always gonna carry weight and news to talk about. But what I do want to focus on though is the fact that the Celtics, I felt like easily beat the Lakers last night, which I, I'm the reason why to me it's important is because I know that there's still a lot of fans and pundits that just feel like maybe just maybe the Lakers could do one more time, and I just think that last night kind of solidified that the Lakers are not there yet. They're a couple pieces still away from even thinking about wanting to contend for a title when you could get beat down by a Celtics team that doesn't even have their maybe second best player at this point on their team, because it seems like Jalen Brown has arrived to a new level. And I remember when the injury to Jason Tatum happened, and everybody was saying, "Oh, well, now we're gonna find out really who Jalen Brown really is," because there was always this wonder about, well, how good is Jalen Brown when he's got a guy like Jason Tatum on the team that rightfully so deserved the ball. He deferred to a lot, but now we're kind of looking at a situation where it's like, man, Jalen Brown, um, he clearly could lead a team. He's leading this team. The one difference when you talk about those Batman and Robin situations, in any team that has gone on to do great things, the one big difference that I will always point to people when it came to Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was clearly the lead dog over Scottie Pippen. Scottie was good, a great player, he's in the Hall of Fame, but Michael was clearly leaps and bounds better. There was no question about it. And so that's why it was never an issue of their dynamic working together. The reason why I believe like a lot of contention came between Shaq and Kobe was, yeah, they had their issues from a personality standpoint, but it was also the simple fact that they were equal. They could both lead a team to a championship, which they did once they separated. They both still went on to win championships with other teams, and being key figures in those championship runs. Uh, and I think that we're starting to find this situation here in Boston where it's not a question anymore of if Jalen Brown can lead a team. Yes, Jalen Brown clearly can. They have two guys on their team that can lead a team, and I think you have more of a Shaq and Kobe situation. What I hope is that they can coexist way better than Shaq and Kobe ever could, because I feel like that if Shaq and Kobe could have found a way to coexist, they would have won a lot more championships than they did. And I think that what we're seeing is a situation now that Jalen Brown has arrived because of Jason Tatum's injury. I think
Mm-hmm.
that we Boston is might be really special when Tatum returns. But with this season going on right now, Boston might have a real legit chance. We're talking about the Spurs and the Pistons maybe being an NBA preview. I think that it's not out of the question that the Celtics could be representing the East minus Jason Tatum in the finals with Jalen Brown leading the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that don't sound too far off. And another thing about the Kobe Shaq thing, like you said, from a personality standpoint, the good part about Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown is their personalities actually mesh. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Jason Tatum knows that he's a great player, but he doesn't have that alpha personality where it's like I'm the dominant figure in the room. And
Mm,
Jalen Brown is the same kind of way. Jalen Brown's like, man, I just want to win. I just want to win. And that's what I noticed about the two. That's why I think they work a little bit better than the Kobe and Shaq situation because of just
hmm
the personality types. Because that's what ended up happening with Kobe and Shaq. It's just personality wise, we don't match. We
Yep.
just don't match personality wise, and that could be a problem. But what I like about the Celtics is this year is you seeing Peyton Pritchard start to get more shine. You seeing Devin White doing what he's doing. You watching some of the bench guys. They're getting in. They're getting that good exposure. And Jalen Brown is like, I'm gonna steer this ship. And like I said, he's a legit MVP candidate. And I want people to look out, like you said, look out for the Celtics because they're two. They're
No.
second in the East right now.
And
Without,
they're balling still. They're balling.
yeah,
They're in their last 10 games. They're 8-2.
yeah,
The trade for Vucevic was ingenious. It was
correct,
ingenious. It was a sneaky,
sneaky.
big time move. The
It
type of
was.
move that the Lakers should have been trying to make. If the
Mm-hmm.
Lakers would have gotten Nikola Vucevic, I would think completely different about the Lakers right now. I really would. The fact that the Celtics pulled that move off, the Celtics, what the Celtics guaranteed was a guy that's gonna stretch the floor. He can still be effective inside the paint, and he's gonna get rebounds for you. And that was something that the Celtics needed on their team.
Yeah.
Correct.
I
No,
want to go back to what you were talking about between, Tatum and Brown, as far as, Brown being able to kind of step out of that shadow this year because of the injury. But now it shows Tatum that he's like, I don't need to do it all. I
Mm-hmm.
have this other guy where we can both do it. And then it's just going to come down to whoever's open at the end. If there's a game winning shot, whoever's open, take the shot. And
mm,
I feel like when you have two guys who can make that big of an impact and you have them locked down on your team, and then you add Vooch, and then you got Pritchard, and you got Devin White. I mean, when Tatum comes back, this team is set up to where, yeah, they have Tatum as the star, but you have this other guy that's right there with him that can take care of business too. And I think that eases the pressure on him to always have to be the one that comes out and performs on top.
hmm. Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with that. and with
Yeah,
Jalen
no,
Brown having the Finals MVP. Like I try to tell people, I'm like Jalen Brown he's been playing very well, throughout his career, but this year has been something different.
Mhm.
Just
is he an MVP candidate?
oh yes, oh yeah, that's not even a question to me. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, look at the team, like you said, without Jason Tatum. I mean, they're second in the East.
And that's a good thing just to talk about right there. You had your star player go out with an injury, and he stepped up and he took that role. Now look over at another team in the East. When Halliburton went down, what happened to
They're
that team?
tanking.
Woo,
They're tanking.
And you just want to see there's these guys that step up when they need to step up. And
yeah,
you had a guy who was like, I'm a star too. You just haven't really been noticing me because this guy's been the main show. But now he's gone
I'll
down,
s-
so
I'll I'll
I'm
say
able to
this
step
though.
into the seat.
I'll say this though about Indiana is that you know what though, I can't get mad at them. And people will say, "What are you what do you mean you can't get? I can't get mad. Your star player went down, and before
Mhm.
that star player went down, you know it was very obvious with the Indiana Pacers. They didn't have another dog on that team.
That's what I'm
They did,
talking about.
and this draft this year is deep,
dog.
now Indiana has a chance to get
Mm,
another dog to
yes,
play with Hallenberg. They've
yeah,
actually set themselves up to be a contender next year. Because remember, Pascal Siaka is still on this team. He's going nowhere. I don't feel like um um the big guy that left. What was his name? Miles.
Miles Turner.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't feel like Miles Turner was that big of an impact to where they cannot overcome or find someone to fill that role. What I feel that the most important role to be taken on is what you added with Pascal Siaka having that guy on the wing that can be an effective player. You got Hallenberg, who is a playmaker, can be a big scorer for you. If the Indiana Pacers do it right and the ping pong balls land for them the right way. Let's just throw a scenario out there and say the Indiana Pacers get Cam Boozer. Wow, wow. Okay, has that not just changed the whole dynamic of the Indiana Pacers? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna get mad at them because their star player went down, and you know what they said?
I'm not
They
mad at him.
they realized, but what I'm getting at is that they realized they didn't have enough last year in that finals, and so
Mhm.
when Hallenberg went down, it was actually almost a blessing for them to be able to come into a season where it's going to be a deep draft and you tanked without saying that you tanked without saying that you tank it. You're able to go through a very low level season and get yourself enough, because the difference is Boston already had enough. Even with Jason Tatum going down, what we saw is that they still had plenty in the tank with Derek White, with Jason Tatum, with Pritchard, with Amari Williams, with Jordan Walsh. They've got guys on this team. Ron Harper Jr., Luke Garza. This team is not devoid of talent as much as Indiana was, and
Mm-hmm.
so I think that that's why we're seeing the big difference in the two. Why Indiana is bottoming out, but yet the Celtics are still excelling. I think that Indiana wants to get a Jalen Brown type to go along with Hallenberg, like Jason Tatum has right now.
Yeah, I agree. I can see them. I actually can see them getting AJ DeBanster too. I can see something.
Okay.
I can see. I can definitely see somebody like that. You get you another scorer, guy who can score from every level on the court, right next to Halliburton with that passing ability, and to be able to set everything up. I can see something like that, and them instantly jumping back into contention.
Kenny, so while we got you, because I know that you follow college hoops a lot, and
Yes.
I'm more of a tournament guy. Like I'll watch college hoops out the corner of my eye while the season's happening, but it's really all about the tournament for me when I
Mhm.
really start paying attention, and that includes the conference tournaments as well that lead into the big tournament.
Mhm.
Um, there everybody says such a deep draft, deep draft. Are there six guys in this draft that guarantee they're gonna come in the league and they're gonna make an impact. Like 6 for sure guys that you could right off the bat recognize and say, yeah, they're gonna come in the league and make an impact.
Oh yeah, that's at least.
Give
That's
me your 6. Give me your
and
6.
they're all freshmen too. Like that's the
Give me your
thing.
6.
All about them coming out. So I got AJ DeBanster. I got Peterson from Kansas. Even though he has some stuff going on that
We know that. Yep.
he has some stuff going on. Then we got Boozer, of course. Then we got the kid from Houston, Flemings. He's nice.
Okay.
And then they got the two stars from Arizona, both of the freshmen, Burpees, and then you got Pete, who's out. He was out this week, but them two guys right here. Now these are all possibility guys who might come out. On top of that, you still got even though Topping did get hurt, I don't know if he's gonna come out. But he was the dude from Texas Tech, the forward. Mm-hmm. He was killing it. He's averaging about 23 a game this year, like 10, 11 rebounds. And so you really do got some guys in this draft that's going to come in and make instant impacts because of the type of scorers they are, the type of players they are. And then you got the two-way guys too. So you do in this draft, it is really deep and it's going to be really top heavy. The first out of 15 picks, 12 of them is probably going to be freshmen. They're young guys, but they are so advanced as far as their play styles. It's so NBA ready already. Like Boozer, he's ready for the league. He could have left high school and went to the league already. His game translates to the league anyway. He's a three-point shooter, 3-level scorer, can play defense, got a great back to the basket game, all of that. So his game, and then AJ DeBanster. What's the point of him going to college? He's ready already. If you go watch him play, the guy from Kansas, Peterson, these guys are ready for the league already. You have guys that are already, their game is mature enough. They done put the work in. They're mature enough for the league already. So, yes, this is a very deep draft, and Indiana has set themselves up to be at that dinner table to pick of the litter.
Yes, indeed. And we got, once again, shout out to all of our people that have joined. I see the comments. I love that we got that from Zenzel Smith talking about Wemby saying he's coming into that stardom, but I feel like next year the Spurs will be that team. Nobody wants to see that team already loaded full of young talent. I just can't wait till Harper comes into his own. That is a big shout out, and I agree with that 100%. I think that this year they're already starting to scare people. I think next year everyone's going to be frightened of them. Andrew Scheid, Windy City is better. Hats out. That is very true compared to the Bulls. I can't lie about that. Justin David Kish, Hornets against the world. You still need more work down there, kiddo. But I will say this much: I do like what what's starting to build. I do like what's starting to build. They've got some good pieces starting to come together there. And then we got from Denzel Smith again. I think the Celtics are good for the playoffs, but going to the finals without Tatum will be tough. I have to disagree with that, Denzel, because of the fact is, if you're telling me that with a team like the Celtics and Joe Mazzulla, who's already got a pedigree for winning a championship, is going against a young Detroit Pistons team that has no championship pedigree at all, the Celtics could beat them 100%. The Celtics could beat them without a doubt. People might think I'm not crazy on that whatsoever. If you got a 7-game series with a young team like that going against a team with championship pedigree, you best believe the Celtics could take Detroit. So I'm not gonna say that they can't get to the finals. Winning the finals is a whole different story because the West has got the pedigree and they're loaded. When you look at OKC, who's the reigning champions, when you look at the Houston Rockets that got Kevin Durant on their team, the Denver Nuggets, and you know how dangerous Jokic can be combined with Jamal Murray in the playoffs, and then who else? And then obviously the Spurs, which is a young up and coming team. I don't think that the Celtics could beat those teams in a 7-game series. Yeah. Kenny, we want you to stick around. If you want, man, stick around with us, man. We're going to be talking some NBA, NFL. We've been talking NBA. We're going to talk a little NFL when we return to talk about the AFC division. We've also got some news as well as Kyle Pitts Sr. Has now received the franchise tag, so we'll break that down. Also, we're just going to take a quick little short break to all of our viewers out there. So stay with us, rock with us, and when we come back, we're going to keep it real here on Unfiltered Sports with Mac and Cal on Prime Covered Sports Network. Oh yeah, we're back, baby. And we're real here on Unfiltered Sports with Mac and Cal, as we are joined by Kenny Casanova. And you could always go check him out on Lockdown Coverage, as well as Prime Coverage College Hoops, which appear right here on the network of Prime Coverage Sports Network. Kenny, what days can they find you?
So they can catch me on Prime College Hoops on Thursdays. You'll have me on Renegade Rundown as well on Tuesdays, and you got me on Sunday Night Hoops on Sundays. So I'm jam packed. I'm locked in and ready to roll.
Yes, sir. And now we're also joined by Andrew Scheid, who will be having his show appear next month. We are definitely anticipating that as well. Andrew, thank you for joining as we get ready to break down a little NFL as we're going to talk AFC. We're going to talk about the divisions and what we expect from each one. But before we get into that, we did have some breaking news today, and that was Kyle Pitts Sr. getting the franchise tag. Uh, Kenny, I want to start with you, and then we'll go to Andrew next. Is this a significant move, or just more of a move of it just makes the best business sense?
It makes the best business sense. It just does. I mean, to me, Kyle Pitts was starting to come into his own. Started seeing the unicorn a little bit unleashed last year. And you're hoping with a Kevin Stefanski type offense that it'll unlock it even more. And so you just really want to see what he got. I think you don't pay him the big money yet. Let's put him in the offense. Let's see what it looks like.
Yeah, it didn't cost much at
No.
all for the franchise tag. And the number is actually relatively small. He stands to make about 16 million in 2006 with the franchise tag, which really isn't that big if you think about the grand scheme of things when it comes to playmakers on the offensive side of football. And even though, yeah, he does carry the tight end title, he finished second among tight ends and first on the team in Atlanta with 88 receptions and 929 yards.
Yeah.
What do you think, Andrew, about this franchise tag on Kyle Pitts? Right move or mistake?
No, I think it was the right move. That I think it would just made he said it was. Kenny said it was great business sense. They just need to wait to see. He needs to develop. He's not quite there. He's not quite comfortable in himself yet. So they need to wait to see how he develops and just see what kind of player he can turn out to be, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, the rookie contract puts you in a very vicarious situation, and we see it play out a lot with the quarterbacks, and why a lot of quarterbacks are not given the proper time to develop. I think that in a situation with the Falcons, they see a lot of upside, but not enough to go long term. So this kind of gives them that one more look to see what they got. Cal, what do you think about it?
Well, when he was drafted, there was high expectations, especially with his athletic ability and what he can do with the ball. And, he did not necessarily do what was it as advertised. And now going into this, instead of, all right, do we give this guy a contract? He had a really good year, but it's contract year, right? How many guys show up on
Mm-hmm.
contract years, then they get paid, and then they go back to being mediocre?
Uh-oh.
That
Tell
happens.
it.
That
Tell
happens
it.
quite a bit. So, they probably looked at it. Look, we got a new coach coming in. We really don't know really what you have with Michael Penix. So why not 16 million compared to what these salaries are in the NFL now? That's chump change to people. Do a 1 year show. All right, man, you did this last year. Let's see if you can do it this year. Maybe bring it up a little bit more and help us win some games. So I mean, yeah, it's the right move, especially when you have a guy that had so much upside and has just kind of just been there.
Mm-hmm. Injuries in his first year, quarterback issues the year following. They finally seen they had kind of got some flow now with especially B. John Robinson being added, and I think that that has opened up his game a lot more because now defenses can't just focus on him anymore or on other playmakers on the edge. They have to now put their eyes in that backfield, and when that happens, playmakers on the outside are able to really shine a
Well,
lot more. I think
and
that if
how important is the tight end position now?
yep,
Yeah.
Look at
it's
how important
essential.
you
I
need to
think it's
have.
important in
You
both
need to have
ways.
an elite level tight end to be able to win now. I don't think you can have just a mediocre big guy who blocks and has an occasional catch. You need a guy who can block, who can make those catches whenever you need it, kind of take over the game as a tight end because you're bigger than most defenders and you change the game. I mean, Pitts is athletic, he's fast, he could do all that. He just needs to actually do it consistently.
Yeah, no, I always tell people, and I know it's a touchy subject, so I don't want to dive into the player himself, but just the reality of when it was going on the field. The Patriots were at their best when they had Aaron Hernandez and Rob Gronkowski together. The
Yep.
Patriots were unstoppable then. I truly believe that when they had that team with Randy Moss, and they were going for the undefeated record, if they would have had that tight end combination to go with Randy Moss, you're not beating the Patriots. You're not. When you got when you got mismatch nightmares in that tight end position, it almost makes your team unstoppable. Look at when Shannon Sharp was at his best with the Broncos and with the Ravens. A mismatch nightmare makes you unstoppable. So I think that when you can have a really special player like that, and you can combine him with other good talent and competent quarterback play, you've turned your offense now into elite level. And so yeah, tight end has become essential in any offense if you want to hit that elite status on an offensive side of football. And it's really now at this point, I think it's more about Michael Penix Jr.
Hmm.
as opposed to we knew that the potential of Kyle Pitts Sr. coming in. We just it had to translate to the NFL. It hadn't really connected, and now this year we finally have seen the cheat code unlocked. Uh, with like I say with B. John Robinson at running back, they have Drake London. I think is a fabulous wide receiver. So they've got playmakers on that offensive side of the football now. It's up to the quarterback to lead the way because I think you've got all the pieces in place. We got some comments here. and I don't want to overlook them. I want to thank everyone. Betty, great show, guy. We appreciate you. Jason, but I love cricket. I live cricket. I don't know what that means. If he loves cricket, not
Yeah,
sure what that
I
means,
don't know
but
what
we're
that
gonna
is either.
yeah, but we're gonna go with it. It's all good. We love you anyway. And then we got Denzel. They really had no other choice there. Backup tight end, not in the level like him, but he did improve last year. And Kevin coming in will give him more touches, just like with Njoku. I have to agree with that. Yeah, Kevin Stefanski is definitely, I think, gonna get even more out of Kyle Pitts. He's an offensive, he's a great offensive mind, and I think when you get a talent like that, you are insane not to take that to the next level with a guy like that. I want to get into these AFC divisions because we talked NFC last week. It was actually really great. We had some good people that joined us last week. Shout out to Sal, who was on with us. Shout out to Casey, who was on with us as well last week. And then Brother Andrew joined us as well. And we were talking some NFC, and we were able to get through all the divisions, which was, I didn't know if that was going to be possible, but we pulled it out somehow, and I was very happy for that. But now this time today, it's time for us to go through the AFC and talk about what the expectations are going into next year from the AFC division. So I'm gonna start it out with the AFC East. And we know that that was won by the New England Patriots, but that was kind of the aberration because for the last few years it's been the Buffalo Bills league. Now, mind you, the Buffalo Bills, it wasn't like the Patriots just like ran away with this. The Patriots were 14-3. The Buffalo Bills were 12-5. And remember, the Patriots had a much easier schedule than the Bills last year. Obviously, you've got the Dolphins and then the New York Jets finishing that up. We know that the Dolphins are a rebuild. They've got a new coach, Tua Tagovailoa. Who knows what's happening with that? I don't expect much from there. The New York Jets, they signed Justin Fields. That didn't seem to work out. Aaron Glenn seems to be way over his head. This franchise is a dumpster fire. I'm expecting them to bottom out still. So I
Mhm.
guess in the AFC East, it really comes down to two teams realistically: the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots. How do we see it playing out next year? And I'll start with you, Cal. Go.
I'll say I still think. I mean, I hate to say it, just because I'm not sold on them yet, but I think New England takes it again in their division. I still think that there's too much that needs to be done with Buffalo as far as pieces around Josh Allen to set them up. I mean, he's got to have a better wide receiving core. I like his tight end, and their defense just that needs some work. Miami needs to say goodbye to Tua. They just need to
Is
let
it
him go.
time? Is
It's
it
been
time?
time. It's
But
been time.
how do you do that with the contract they signed into? And that's the problem.
You do the
You just
Bobby
release them?
Bonilla. You do the Bobby Bonilla football if you don't want to take that hit. You just pay him for the rest of his life and just have him go away. And then you let Quinn Ewers steer the ship for a year until these quarterbacks in the next draft come out, and then you just start over. I don't think they made
Mm.
the right decision at coach, though.
That was a very questionable move.
Yeah, I don't think that they should have went defense. I think that they needed to bring in a different offensive minded coach. I just didn't see that signing as something good. I mean they gotta rebuild a lot, man. They gotta get another wide receiver. I think they need to bring a younger secondary back for HN. They need to work on their tight end. They got rid of their best defensive edge rusher during the trade deadline. So I mean, they have a lot of holes that they have to fill up. And I mean, I don't have enough. There's really nothing to say about the Jets other than they'll probably have the first round draft pick or number one pick overall next year.
That ain't that the truth.
That's all I'm going to say. The only thing I would say for Aaron Glenn is this draft all defense. Just get that defensive
Get that defense
side
right.
right, and then worry about the offense. Because I feel like you can't do both sides in this draft. You have to fix one side before you fix the other. And that offense is a dumpster fire, so you might as well fix the defense and come back.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with that. You might as well fix that and then come back. Andrew, um, how do so is it just the wide receiver for the Bills? I think they still need some answers on defense, but clearly, yeah, the wide receiver position is a big issue. How do they go about addressing it? Is it trade or is it free agency?
Honestly, if it were me, I would explore both options.
Okay.
Because you never know what's gonna pop out there in free agency, but you never know what you can get for a trade either. I mean,
And they definitely need that help.
seen crazy things happen.
No,
But
yeah. No, yeah.
with the Bills, it's just they always seem to get right up to the precipice, but can't get there, And I really don't know what it is.
Well, they're claiming it's coaching, so we'll see. Now they've got a new coach in place. You know, and coaching can make a difference. I mean, we saw that with the Jacksonville Jaguars. We saw that with the Chicago Bears. We saw that with the New England Patriots. Coaching can make a difference. So for me to sit here and say like, oh, it doesn't matter, changing the coach, could that make a difference? Possibly, but I think that there's just so when we saw the Seattle Seahawks last year before they won the Super Bowl, you already saw a team that defense legit, uh, playmakers on the team. Just needed someone to steer the ship at quarterback. Geno Smith was not the answer. I could have had told them that if they could have called me for free. They didn't have to pay me. I could have called me for free and I'd have said, Geno Smith ain't the answer, brother, if you want to do something. And some kind of a funny way it worked out for them because I hear the grapevine was that they actually were trying to re-sign Geno, and Geno didn't want to re-sign with them. So my thing is that they kind of got lucky, found a way to upgrade a quarterback, and that pushed them over the top. I don't think that Buffalo is just one player away from being pushed over the top. I think Buffalo needs two playmakers on defense, and they need a wide receiver, if not maybe two, because obviously Keon Cole, at least from what we've seen so far, is not going to be the answer at wide receiver as well for this team. Kenny,
I was just gonna say, we've learned what happens when teams try to rely solely on a quarterback. That's all. I was just gonna leave it.
yeah. Kenny, what do you think about this AFC East? How's it looks with the Patriots and uh, pretty much ultimately the Patriots and the Buffalo being a two-team race at this point?
Um, you know what? I actually got Buffalo winning the division again. The reason being is this: I think that the Patriots this year is going to have a first place schedule,
Mm-hmm.
play tough teams. Everybody won their division that they're going to have to play, and so it's not going to be a fourth place schedule. They won't have the benefit of that anymore. Now the question is, where is Drake May at?
Mm.
Where do you go from that Super Bowl performance? Do you use it as fuel and take that next leap, or does it get implanted in your mind and then we never see you back to yourself again? So I think that's where my trepidation with New England is right now. And as far as Buffalo, the Joe Brady hiring just makes sense. It just makes sense. It does. Um, I think the thing about Josh Allen is if they can, like you said, if they can go get him a legit guy, I think they need to call Philadelphia and talk to
Um,
them about.
I was just about to say, do you think that they ask it for AJ Brown?
Oh yeah, yeah. You call you. That's the first call you make. You call and see, hey, is he that disgruntled? We can get him up here with us, and that would help. On top of just the run game is already there. You already got what you need in the backfield, so that's already solidified. On top of that, you think Josh Allen liked the fact that New England won the division last year? No, he's gonna be mad. He's gonna play mad this year, and so I think just in that instance, I think that Buffalo will win the division, and the other two teams they got too much to. We won't even discuss them. They got too much to work out. They don't need, neither one of the teams got their quarterbacks that they want for the future, and the coaching is just that's just is what it is for both of those teams.
No,
I think Aaron Glenn will be fired because I think Mike Tomlin will be back in the next coaching cycle, and I think he'll go to the Jets. I'm gonna predict it
Oh
now.
yeah, my thing with the Jets is like I don't know what happened to Justin Fields. He had a few good years in Chicago. Showed us what he could do a little bit, but then got traded away and just fell off. I mean, I don't even know if he's going to get signed anywhere next year. I
No,
well,
honestly think.
he's still signed to the Jets, but I don't know if the belief is in him anymore. If he even have belief in that franchise. I will say this much for the New England Patriots, and when it comes to Drake May, I played. Obviously, I'm an avid video game guy. I love video games, and I know that they don't necessarily they're not real life, but I think in a lot of ways they can be compared. And when I was playing the worst teams. It doesn't matter if I'm playing Madden or NCAA and football. When I'm playing the worst teams, I'm dominating. I look like an all-star. I look like I can cook with anybody. And then
yeah,
all of a sudden, when I meet a team that's on the same level as me, all of a sudden I'm feeling very average. And I just feel like Drake May looked great when he was cooking against teams that didn't have anything. When you're playing against the New York Jets and you're playing against the Miami Dolphins. Remember, he played them twice, so that's 4 games. That's 4 games of a 17 game season that you played against two complete dumpster fires. You know what, I could put up big MVP numbers against them 4 teams. Imagine if Caleb Williams had played against the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets for 4 games. His stats would have looked pretty crazy too. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. So let's remember that schedule does matter, and
yes,
he looked very average when he went up against teams that were on the equal level as him, as we saw in that Super Bowl against the Seattle Seahawks. I want to go to the next division, and that's the AFC North. We know that the Steelers won it basically by default in a way. Baltimore Ravens had massive struggles because of injuries to Lamar Jackson, which led to a coaching change. The Steelers won the division and still made a coaching change. Mike Tomlinson gracefully stepped down, but let's be honest, we know that it was pretty much told to him, you need to go or we're going to have to fire you. The Cincinnati Bengals are, I- you know, it's they're the real anomaly to me because they are the one team everybody says get your coach right, get your quarterback right, and your team is gonna succeed. And as I see Zach Brown still there as coach, he's been there for a little bit now. The Joe Burrow's second year, they make it to the Super Bowl, and yet after that, there's been nothing but failure since then, and a lot has been tied up in Joe Burrow's health. Um, they they're not going to have Trey Hendrickson this year. I'm pretty sure he's going to move on. They're not going to re-sign him. I just for a team that is supposedly has the coach, has the quarterback, I don't see it, and I definitely think Zach Brown's going to get fired after this year if they don't make the playoffs. And in my opinion, I find it very hard for them to make the playoffs because I do think that Pittsburgh will still be very relevant. I do believe that the Baltimore Ravens are, even though they made a coaching change as well, are still going to be very relevant. They have the pieces in place. They have the quarterback. They have talent on the defensive side of the football. Um, I don't see Cincinnati being able to make that leap in that division And the Cleveland Browns, even though they might have one of the greatest defensive players of all time, they're basically hitting the reset button again with the new coach. Uh, is Shadua Sanders going to be the starter? That seems like the organization's still not committed to him at all. I don't think that Dylan Gabriel is the answer either, unless this guy grows leaps and bounds. They still have Deshaun Watson on the roster, who I guess is going to be the starting quarterback next year. So, Cleveland, I don't expect much out of them. I guess with me, I'm really thinking that it's going to be Baltimore that's going to take this division next year. Kenny, we'll start with you. How do you see it?
Baltimore. Okay. Well, let's start at the
I'm
bottom.
just being honest.
Let's
Who's
go-
got the quarter? Who's got the quarterback? Yeah, I know you're a
You're
Steelers
right.
fan,
No, listen,
but
you're
don't
right.
lie. Don't lie. The Steelers
I
don't
won't
have a
lie.
quarterback.
I will not lie. I promise you that. I promise you I will not lie. Okay. I'm gonna start at the bottom of the division. The little brothers at the bottom, the Browns. Dumpster fire. Like you said, they don't know what they're gonna do at quarterback. I probably, if I was them, I would roll Shador Sanders, give him a full offseason, a full training camp. Let's see what he got. He was the last quarterback. He won him a game. You understand what I'm saying? He was winning games for them. So let's see what he has. I would say I would start with that. And then we move up to Cincinnati. What are y'all doing? Like, y'all got Joe Burrow not even wanting to play football no more. Joe's like, I'm not even having fun. And I'm like, football is not supposed to be fun, but I get the sentiment of what he's saying. It's like, yo, this is just not it. This is why he had trepidation that when he was coming out of college about going to Cincinnati was because of the inability of the owner to stop being so cheap. Go spend some money. Go spend some money on some defensive talent, not offensive. I think where they made their mistake at was thinking that you could pay two receivers and that your defense was just going to be your defense. You're going to have to allocate some funds to the other side of the ball, man. And I think that they messed up and they're dropping the ball with that. But we shall see as free agency opens up and all that kind of stuff. Now, so we're going to go to Baltimore, who was second place in the division last year. Let's go to them, the runner-ups. The Jesse Mentor thing is cool. It's cool. But I would say the Steelers have the best coach in the division. I would step out on a limb and say that. Go look at the coaches.
He's the most proven. He's the most proven. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we got the most proven coach in the division. We got Jesse Mentor, a first time coach. You have the offensive coordinator already taking shots at Lamar Jackson, talking about be there in off season. Let's say they need help at the receiver position. Derrick Henry's fumbling a little bit more, but hey, maybe he'll cut back on that this year. Maybe that was just a 1 year thing. We'll see. Defensively, they got to get somebody that they can rely on outside of Cal Hamilton. Cal Hamilton cannot be the end all be all. Players get hurt in this league. If you're dependent on one player on defense, and trust me, as a Steelers fan, I understand with TJ Watt. If you're dependent on one player on defense, your team you're not that good defensively. So they're gonna have to work on some stuff there. Now, Pittsburgh, they got the biggest question is, who is your quarterback? Who is your quarterback? It sounds like they're rolling another one with Aaron Rodgers. But then I'm hearing Malik Willis. If that don't work out, but then I'm hearing they may roll with Will Howard. They have to work out the most important position in football. So unbias me. As much unbiased as I'm going to have to be, I guess I'm going to have to agree with Marcus and pick Baltimore to win the division.
Carol, what's your thoughts?
Well, looking at the division as a whole, when you come and look at team makeup, Baltimore has the most talent on the field. They have a better offense, better defense than the other three. I think that Baltimore needs to look at investing in a bigger wide receiver. And I think it's going to be time that they find their Mark Andrews replacement. And I think they also need to really find a Derrick Henry replacement, man. There's a lot of wear and tear on those tires, man. And you can't depend on him forever.
Yeah.
And then
Kyle, that's a great point because I don't think Derrick Henry was brought in there for 5 years. I think that
exactly.
Derrick Henry was brought there in a 3 year window.
Yes.
Like when we're bringing this guy here, he should develop. He should deliver a Super Bowl. Help us deliver a Super Bowl in 3 years, and I think we're starting to hit that 3 year window.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the defensive side, yeah, they need to bolster up that secondary. I think that's one of their biggest weakness. One thing about Baltimore is that they always have strong linebackers. I Roquan's good. I mean, he has his moments. He's the leader of that team, but I was happy when the Bears got rid of him. Then we move over to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has a lot of things that they need to work on. I do like the idea of Malik Willis. I think that would be really good for them. I think he proved that he could play in the NFL, being the backup in Green Bay and doing what he did. And if they don't get that, I mean, you have Rodgers steer the ship for one more year, and you have hopefully a higher draft pick to where you can bring in another quarterback, because I don't see Will Howard doing it, and then I don't see what's his name,
Mason Rudolph.
I don't see Mason Rudolph doing it either. And they have some work too. I mean, they have one running back on that team that never even saw the field, and I was expecting this dude to be lights out when he came out of Iowa, and he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, what was the problem with him? Did they redshirt him for 1 year just because they didn't want him to come on the field? Like, what's the deal? Cincinnati, you have to decide which one you want, Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. You got to get rid of one. You got to get rid of one. You got to get rid of one for draft capital and build up your defense.
Yeah.
If you can have the and we're going back to your Madden reference, a 99 overall offense and a 70 overall defense,
Not
you are
good.
not going to win. You're losing your best defensive player. He doesn't want to be there. He made it obvious that he doesn't want to be there anymore. So instead of, all right, you let him walk, you got to get rid of one of those weapons to build up draft capital or bring in another defensive player that you can get right away to start. And that just makes sense to me. Now I would probably say you'll get more for Chase over Higgins, and that would be just the deciding factor of, well, how many draft picks do we get for him compared to him. And the Browns, man, there's a couple different scenarios you could do with them too. You have to decide on the two quarterbacks you drafted in the same draft, a guy that's making guaranteed money just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. And you got to see which one actually can play. And out of those three, Shador is the only one that could really play. I mean, Dylan Gabriel, I didn't like him at Oregon. I'm not a big fan of left-handed quarterbacks to begin with, but he didn't have to really – I mean, he had an elite offense. He didn't have to do that much. That's like quarterbacks at Ohio State. They don't have to do that much. They just have to be there. And you just got to let – I would trade Dylan Gabriel for a 6th-round pick. Trade him to Miami. They love left-handed quarterbacks. Send him down there. And then I really got to think about, do you keep Myles Garrett? If you're at the bottom of the barrel, why are you going to hold back one of the greatest defenders in the NFL? You're doing him a disservice by constantly losing. Go get 3 first-round draft picks and a 2 and a 4, and let him go be in a contender to play and win a Super Bowl. I think you owe it to him. At some point, the organization owes their players. And when you have a great player on your team and your team is a dumpster fire, you owe it to them to let them get a championship, or at least try to get a championship. And that's how I look at that.
No, I have to say that that will be the idea, but it doesn't seem like Cleveland's too committed to that. Bernie Kosar, Joe Thomas. There's been many guys that have been Cleveland greats and have just played their career out in Cleveland and not won anything.
Yeah, but
so
those other two guys you said do not have the same impact on a game that Myles Garrett.
This is true. This is true. Miles is generational.
This dude is so far between where you can't compare these three guys. He is the best Cleveland Brown that on the defensive side of the ball. And I
Oh no,
feel
I'm
like
not. I'm not comparing their talent. I'm just talking about in
yeah,
terms of how Cleveland Browns operate. And
but
the
they're
way they operate is that their best talents on their team usually end up staying stuck with them because
yeah.
they have a refusal to trade. Because remember,
Well,
it takes two to tango. Miles Garrett can't trade himself.
oh, I
All
know.
Miles Garrett can do is wait for his contract to end. But wait a minute, Miles Garrett made the mistake of re-upping his contract
Yes.
again. So therefore, whatever happens to Miles Garrett on the Cleveland Browns, it's because of Miles Garrett, not because of the Cleveland Browns. And there's no gun to the Cleveland Browns head that says
Oh
they
no.
have to trade him. And what I'm telling you is that Cleveland has a big time reputation for holding on to their great players and not trading them at all or sending them anywhere.
Well, if you
And
want to
that's my fear with Miles Garrett.
if you want to rebuild a team, you have the perfect trade piece to bring in quite a few assets to bring in more quality players.
They've been at it,
Oh,
Cal.
I know. I'm
They've
just
been
saying, like,
at it.
I'm looking at it in that perspective of I have this dude and what I can get for him. I can fill so many holes at one time.
Well, yeah, but think about it. He asked for a trade, and what did they do? They gave him more money.
I
So
know.
that's my whole point is that
Well,
Cleveland has no interest in trading him.
well,
Like
that's why they'll
the
always
guy
be
the
at the
guy said
bottom of the
trade
list.
me. The guy said trade me, and they said be quiet. Here, take more money.
Right.
You're
And
not-
that's why they won't win. And that's why they won't win.
and that's why they won't win. It is 100%. We're gonna switch gears, and I'm gonna start it out with Andrew on the AFC South. We've got the Jacksonville Jaguars, Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, and the Tennessee Titans. Uh, the Colts obviously fell off a cliff because Daniel Jones got injured, but before that, we're looking like the darlings of that division. Jacksonville was able to really kind of creep up towards the end, and they got hot, won 8 straight to finish out the season. And then Houston Texans as well, as they won 9 straight to finish out their season. I don't believe in the Tennessee Titans, so I think they're still a work in progress. The Colts are a mystery because when they come back with a healthy Daniel Jones next year with that defense of Jonathan Taylor, they could storm that division again, like where they started out last season. But I feel like the Jacksonville has established themselves as well as the Houston Texans as being, hey, we're gonna be here. The Texans defense is purely elite. CJ Stroud is now starting to become a question mark, but if he can get back to where he tapped into his rookie year, I think that we see a different Houston team. And remember, his weapons have been injured on the outside, so I'm not going to put that all on CJ. You do got to have your top players have got to be healthy for you to be able to showcase what you can do at quarterback. But I'm gonna go. I do not think that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be upseated. I think that they'll win the division again. And Andrew, I want you to start out. How do you feel about the AFC South?
Well, I think it's like you said. My opinion, it's going to come down between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans. I mean, I think those are the two it's going to come down between, and I think it's going to come down to between whose quarterback stays more healthy during the season and who plays better. But they need to make sure with Jacksonville that he has the weapons on the outside. Same thing with Houston, because you can't win without those. Like we said, quarterbacks can't do it on their own. But I think CJ Stroud really can give Lawrence a run for his money if he stays healthy and if he has the right guys with him to get it done.
Yeah, no, I have to agree that it's going to be a dogfight between those two once again. Kenny, how do you see it playing out in the AFC South?
Well, I actually see the Colts finishing last this year. I'm gonna make a
Oh,
bold
okay.
statement. I actually see the Colts finishing last, just because like even Daniel Jones coming back, how healthy is he gonna be? I mean, he already had a broken leg and then he tore his Achilles, so it's one of those things where it's like that's a lot to be dealing with in one off season. and then trying to get back on top of that. So I think they got a question mark at quarterback. Um, and I just like what Tennessee did this offseason as far as the coaching. I like Robert Saleh, I do. But I love Brian Dayball coming in there. I love
Mm.
that. That's the move I think that could change Cam Ward's trajectory right there. That is the quarterback that developed Josh Allen into what we see now, Superman. And so I think he can possibly do the same thing with a kid who has a rocket for an arm, can throw at all different angles like Josh Allen can, and can move around. He's more athletic than we give him credit for. So I like Tennessee. I can see them winning 6, 7 games next year. I think the Colts are going to bottom out. I do. I think the Colts are going to be really bad next year. So that lets you know how I feel about them. And then the top two, CJ Stroud. I don't want to see you on no podcast. I don't want to see you how great you are. I don't want to see you doing nothing but playing football. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear how great you are. I want to see you playing football because you got a lot to prove next year going into the next season. And I'm gonna tell you that's why I'm picking Jacksonville to repeat as the division champs. I think they are. I think Liam Cohen has Trevor Lawrence playing at an MVP level right now, and I think they can build on that because that Trevor Lawrence can go to another level. There's another level Trevor Lawrence can get to. I think next year. I think Jacksonville is going to be a problem, not just in the AFC South, but in the AFC in general.
Yeah, no. I have to say that I think it's like I said, still gonna be a dogfight between those top two
Mm-hmm.
teams. I'm looking over now at the AFC West, and I'll start it out with you, Cal. This one probably might be, uh, in my opinion, the toughest division in the AFC because and definitely one of the most unique. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, we don't know his exact timeline when he's going to return. The belief is though is that he will return at some point during the season. The Las Vegas Raiders seem like they finally have kind of figured it out at least a little bit where now they're going to have a very good offensive mind and Clint Kubiak coming in, who's coming fresh off of a Super Bowl victory. They're going to pair him more than likely with Mendoza from Indiana. So they're going to be better. They have Genty. They more than likely will add some more pieces on the outside. They still have Max Crosby on the roster unless they do make a trade, which will only give them more pieces. But did we look at the top part of it in the Chargers? Well, what do we say? If you have the quarterback and the coach, that makes you dangerous. The Chargers have that with hardball and with their quarterback, Herbert. And then the Broncos are the more interesting scenario because the Broncos have the coach. I'm not sure if they have the quarterback. Bo Nix, I don't know if Bo Nix is a product of the system or if Bo Nix is actually a really good quarterback because Sean Payton is great at scheming. We saw what he was able to do even when Jared Stidham came into the game. He has the ability to get the best out of a guy, even if the guy doesn't have that great ability itself. And the Broncos have an elite defense. I think the Broncos defense is on the same level as the Seahawks
Mhm.
in the NFC. So it's hard for me to put anybody above the Broncos, but I would not be surprised if the Chargers, if healthy, were able to unseat them because I feel like with Patrick Mahomes being injured, the Chargers have the best quarterback in that division. Cal, what do you think about the AFC West?
All right. I'll start at the top. I think you get a healthy J.K. Dobbins and a couple other offensive weapons on the Broncos. They take the division. I think the one thing that held them back from being, well, especially in the AFC Championship game and through some points of the year, was being able to score points. They were terrible at scoring points. It just seems like Bo Nix would get all the way down the field and then they would just bottom out. You got to put some more offensive pieces around them, bigger wide receivers, a better tight end, and just figure out if CJ Harvey's the guy or J.K. Dobbins or yeah, J.K. Dobbins is the guy. I think you have to decide which running back you're going to do and actually stick with a running game. Then I'll go to number 2, where I think that the LA Chargers medical staff needs to be investigated
Big time.
on why these offensive linemen get hurt. These offensive linemen are
Why is Herbert always hurt?
that's another one. But when you get your 2 best tackles hurt, that destroyed their playoffs. Was not having those guys. You know, I think you bring a healthy offensive line back in. You know, they have offensive pieces, but I need to see more from Omari and Hampton. You know, there was so much talk, and he had some good upside, and then he got hurt too. You know, it was all going good, and then one injury after the other. And then, you know, I think that Kansas City just kind of takes it easy this year. I think they look and they want to heal up.
Do they sign Tyreek Hill, even though he's injured? Do they wait it out? What do they put him and Mahomes together and wait it out for them to both get healthy?
Why put your money in that when you're not going to have the product on the field? If Mahomes doesn't start the season, that backup quarterback situation there is awful. You know, I think you just set somebody up to get hurt playing with that guy. I think you build up, you get younger. I don't want to see you bring in older guys. This team should be building up to get younger talent. You have a first time in a long time, they have a higher draft pick to get decent talent. You go and you get it. And then Vegas is a wild card, man, to me, because you're bringing in Kubiak, you're going to draft Mendoza. And you pair Mendoza with Genty and Bowers.
Yep.
And I think, and if you make that trade, I feel like you can kind of convince Crosby to stay or be happy, knowing that you're bringing in a really good quarterback out of college. You have a guy in the backfield that's proven to be an NFL-ready running back, and you got an elite tight end. You bring in 1 or 2 stud wide receivers. You know, maybe you make a trade for bringing A.J. Brown over to be in, silver and black. And you pair him up with Mendoza, and then you draft a young wide receiver with him. I mean, now you're starting to build up an offense to where now you're making your star player Crosby happy.
Yeah, no, that is very true. Andrew, what do you think about the AFC West?
Well, first off is we all know that Mendoza's going to Vegas. We all saw at the national championship that Davis Jr. and Tom Brady were looking at him like a dog looking at a bone. So we know where he's going. And I think that being in that system in Vegas with the coach they're bringing in can do him some good. Can they bring in weapons that he can use? He has Genty and stuff like that, but is that enough? We'll have to wait and see. But my mind's drawing a blank here, guys. Oh my God, I'm drawing a whole blank of what I wanted to say. I had it all, and now I'm out of it.
Well, here, let's go over to Kenny right now.
Yeah,
let's figure out what's going on, man.
Oh God, thank you.
Yeah. So basically, I'm actually I have the Raiders on the upside. Like I think that I like the coaching hire, man. I really do, and I like the quarterback that they're going to bring in. I definitely think that with Genty, another year, I think they need some offensive line help. Solidify that. Get them a bona fide number 1 weapon. They have to. They have to go do that. Like you said, make Max Crosby stay, please. Please make him stay.
If you do trade them, then make sure you get the prerequisite right pieces.
Yeah, you better get everything. If you do end up trading Max Crosby, you better get everything. They better not have a first-round pick for a couple years.
Let me ask you this, Kenny. If the Raiders trade Max Crosby, because we've seen this a lot, especially here in Chicago, if the Raiders trade Max Crosby to the Bears for DJ Moore, is that a good trade for the Raiders?
No. Don't do that.
Because we've seen that a lot here in Chicago. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we've seen that don't work. Don't do that. But I would call Philly. I think I'll call Philly. Hey man, throw AJ Brown in there on that Max Crosby trade. Give us a couple first round picks. Hey, we
And
both
and
have.
Philly does love their off. Philly does love those defensive edge guys.
Mhm.
We both happy. You get rid of your headache, and then we get some picks from you guys and add them to our receiving core. I mean, that could be the case. I think I'm with Cal on this one about Kansas City. I do think they coast this year. Um, don't rush Mahomes back. There's no reason to. There's no reason
Nope,
to rush him back. There's
no reason to.
no reason to rush him back. Make sure he's fully healthy, 100%. I don't care what he says out of his mouth. You make sure that the MRI matches his what's coming out of his mouth. You know, I think they chill out this year. I think that the Chargers they have a black cat running around their organization because for some reason they just can't stay healthy. This is not just now regime. This is back in the day. Drew Brees shoulder gone. Phillip Rivers ACL. Danny Thompson gets hurt. Like it's just something always is wrong with the Chargers. It's kind of like the Cowboys. Whatever will go wrong, it
Can
will.
go wrong.
It's going to. I like Herbert. I think, like I said, they got the quarterback, they got the coach. I like Amarion Hampton from what I've seen of him. Got to stay healthy. I don't know what's going on. Investigation, like Cal said, needs to be opened up about.
Is it something about that California water? Because we got San Francisco.
Look at San
San
Francisco.
Francisco
Yeah,
players can't. San Francisco players can't stay healthy. Matthew Stafford's got needs a backiotomy. The Chargers players can't stay. What is with this California water?
it might be the weather or another W word, but I won't say that.
Oh,
But it's something going on. Something is going on out there because the Chargers cannot stay healthy for nothing. And so it's kind of tough to really pick this division, but I'm going to roll with Denver because why? They're the healthiest. I believe in what they're doing more than any of the other teams currently right now. And I wasn't going to pick the Raiders out the gate to flip it like that.
no.
No, I think Mendoza's going to need a year or two to kind of get his sea legs in the NFL. When it comes to the
And what
Broncos, I do
we don't
believe
even know about we don't know about Clint Kubiak yet. I mean, look, just because you're a great offensive mind does not always translate to head coach. It's beautiful what we saw with the first year with Ben Johnson in Chicago, Liam Cohen in Jacksonville, but that's just 1 year. It needs to be sustained before you are just dubbed. Oh, it's gonna be different because they hired this offensive mind.
Right, but also another point to that is the staff that he builds around him too.
That's important.
Oh, that's most definitely important.
I don't care if you're the greatest coach, but you have terrible coordinators and other staff, you ain't gonna win.
Yeah.
But my thing is with Denver, and I might disagree with Marcus a little. I think if Bo Nix plays in that championship against New England, Denver comes out on top.
Yeah,
that's just my
no.
I don't think anybody.
I have to. Yeah.
I think everybody's on board with if Bo Nix was in that AFC Championship game, it would have been a better Super Bowl.
Correct.
I think Denver versus the Seahawks was definitely a more formidable matchup because we would have saw both sides of that football being equalized by two very evenly matched defenses. I think that the Seahawks defense was head and shoulders above the New England Patriots defense, and that's why we saw the outcome that we saw because the Patriots defense was not a slouch, but they just didn't have enough playmakers. And I think that if the Denver Broncos defense had came in against Sam Darnold, maybe we would have saw Scooby-Doo Sam Darnold because Sam didn't play that great in the Super Bowl. He played good enough for them to win, but he didn't play great. And I think that maybe if he would have played against a little bit more ferocious defense, maybe we would have saw Scooby-Doo Sam Darnold.
Well, we know who played great in the Super Bowl, and it was the guy I said was going to be MVP. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes. Yes, running back. Hey, shout out to the running back position, which is on the rise again. Hats off to these guys. That position was maligned, but I think that we've seen a resurgence in that position from Saquon Barkley to now the kid over here and with the Seahawks to what we see with what Bijan Robinson is doing, and he's doing special things and he's getting notoriety. Alshon Jenney. Wait till Jeremiah Love hits the league this year. I think that the running back position is finally starting to get the
Yeah, I
love that it
mean,
should have never stopped getting in the first place.
also
Especially
here in
Kansas City.
Chicago, we haven't done things here in the running back position here this year that we haven't done since the 80s. So, I mean, the running back position, I think, is finally coming back to what it used to be, and I'm loving seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been beautiful, man. I want to thank you guys for joining us. Shout out to Andrew Shy, Kenny Casanova for coming on and joining us on Unfiltered. I know I told you originally, like, I just hang out for 30 minutes or so, and then we kidnapped you for a whole nother 30 minutes and an hour because we just enjoy sitting back talking sports with you guys. So we really appreciate you. Appreciate you joining. We appreciate all of our viewers out there, all of our listeners out there. We love the comments. We love the follows, the likes. Thank you guys so much. It means everything to us. And that's why we come on here to do Unfiltered Sports, to bring you nothing but the best sports news around. Right now, currently, we're only giving you guys 2 hours one day out of the week. And that's Monday. Every Monday, come check us out on 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. On the East Coast, that's 7 and 9 p.m. And on the West Coast, 5 to 7 p.m. Make sure to stay locked in with us on Prime Cover Sports Network. Like and follow. Support your guys because we got something good brewing here. Make sure you check out our boy Kenny Casanova as he makes his appearances through the network. We're going to have Andrew Shy joining us next month with Mayhem as well. Next week, that's right. He's going to be joining us with Mayhem Sports. So we've got a lot that's kicking off and locked in here on Prime Cover Sports Network. Like I said, we can't thank everyone enough for supporting us. We're now about to hit the 2-month mark, and it's just been special. It's been truly special to be able to get out here and give you guys another side of sports, something that's not written by script writers, something that's not told by corporate the corporate scene what you're supposed to talk about. This is all organic. This is all live. This is from the heart, and we're bringing you real content and real opinions about sports. So shout out to everyone that has made this possible. Prime Cover Sports Network is something special, and we appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir.
We're going to salute off then, gentlemen, and have a good one to all of our peeps out there.
Have a good one, guys.
All right.
Yeah, hey, drop.
Prime Coverage Sports Network. Real coverage, real conversation.